Hey Brent, you've been glued to your phone ever since you got here.
My bad, man. I've just been too addicted to TikTok recently. Everything is just so funny and relatable.
Alright, Becca, but your dopamine receptors are fried.
Wait, wait. What do you mean my dopamine receptors are fried?
Dopamine, dude. Your brain's on a dopamine loop right now. Every like, every swipe, every scroll, your brain is on a feel good moment. It's like chasing a jackpot that never comes. Like, look, dude, you have a jackpot, a slot machine as a keychain. Fried, dude, cooked. What I'm trying to say, Brent, is that they designed social media to promote user engagement through features that promote like variable rewards, like similar mechanisms to gambling. So, like, what I'm trying to say is,
Wait. Hold on. Are you saying TikTok is like a slot machine?
jackpot, Brent. That's what I meant. Like every scroll, it's like you pull the lever, and yeah, sometimes you see something cool, but the others is just brain rot. So you just like waste your time.
I kind of understand it, but like, I don't think it's all that bad. I mean, it helps me stay up to date with current trends. It makes me connected with my friends and family, and like, I even learn from it sometimes.
Yes, but like I just said, too much of this can like fry your brain. You'll end up needing more and more dopamine to achieve the same level of happiness. Additionally, it just messes your brain and stuff, rots your brain.
Well, I guess you're right. I have been feeling kind of empty lately. Like, nothing outside of my phone makes me excited, if you get what I mean.
That's a trap, man. It's not just about missing out on life. It's the anxiety and procrastination that comes with it. You're chasing quick dopamine hits when you could have like get lasting ones that last out through like life. Like, I don't know, hanging out with friends or doing something productive like school. And that's where the trap lies. You not only miss out on life, you also procrastinate, you also get distracted and stuff. You should not just keep chasing these dopamine hits when you can get lasting ones from people you love and care about and the relationships you meet along the way.
So, what do you suggest I do now, Josh?
Just balance it. Like, try setting limits and picking time to use your apps for fun, and then, as I said, to focus on the things that should give you long-term dopamine hits, like focusing on your hobbies or chilling with your friends like me, instead of just being glued to your phone.
Sure. Thanks, Josh.
No problem. Get off your damn phone.
Good day, everyone, and good day to you, Sir Ramon. My name is Kaizen, and today I am joined by my groupmates Ramon, Joshua, Brent, and Cherise. We will be discussing the neurotransmitter called dopamine for today. Our coverage for dopamine will be its impact on daily life, scientific explanations of dopamine synthesis, release, and pathways in the brain, its connection to addiction and reward systems, effects of dopamine in the context of social media, and strategies to optimize dopamine. With that, let's start with our general definition. Ram, take it away.
Thanks, Kaizen. So, dopamine is a neurotransmitter that transmits signals in the brain and body. It's often called the feel good neurotransmitter because it's released during pleasurable activities, reinforcing behaviors that lead to positive outcomes. It is crucial for processes such as reward processing, motivation, movement, and mood regulation. Now we move on to how we see dopamine in our daily lives. For our daily lives, we see dopamine having a lot to do with our motivation, as it drives us to pursue goals and engage in activities that are meaningful or rewarding. We also see it in our movement, where it facilitates voluntary movements. Furthermore, it influences our emotional responses. Low levels of dopamine are associated with depression and apathy. Now let's take a closer look at how dopamine is made and released. Kaizen?
Thanks, Ram. Now, let's see how dopamine is synthesized and released. For how it is synthesized, dopamine is first created from an amino acid called tyrosine. which we get from foods like meat, dairy, and nuts. Tyrosine then is converted into L-DOPA by the enzyme tyrosine hydroxylase. Then, L-DOPA is transformed into dopamine by the enzyme aromatic L-amino acid, the carboxylase. Then for how it is released, once synthesized, dopamine is stored in vesicles within neurons. When neurons are activated, it is released into the synaptic cleft, where it interacts with target neurons. This release influences our mood, motivation, and sense of pleasure. Moving on, we go to its pathways in the brain. There are key dopamine pathways in the brain: the nigrostriatal pathway, the mesolimbic pathway, and the mesocortical pathway. The nigrostriatal pathway regulates movement. Dysfunction in this area is linked to Parkinson's disease. The mesolimbic pathway is central to reward processing and reinforcement learning. And the mesocortical pathway influences cognitive functions like attention and decision making. Now, Joshua will discuss how dopamine actually works.
Thank you, Kaizen. Dopamine operates in two ways. First, tonic firing. Tonic firing maintains a steady level of dopamine, helping with movement control and motivation. Second, phasic firing. Phasic firing, on the other hand, involves quick bursts of dopamine in response to stimuli, reinforcing BVA behaviors or helping with planning and execution. Now we see its relation to addiction. Dopamine also plays a role in addiction. As you can see here, motivation is controlled or influenced by the tonic firing of dopamine neurons. Learning, on the other hand, is reinforced by the phasic firing of dopamine neurons. Furthermore, over time, there is a reduction of interest in alternative rewards caused by reliance on habitual behaviors. This leads to a decrease in a range of rewarding stimuli that are not part of a person's established habits. Moving on, dopamine release occurs in response to rewarding stimuli. This release reinforces behaviors that seek these rewards. And when we receive rewards, whether from food, achievements, or even social media, dopamine levels surge, reinforcing those behaviors. This creates a dopamine loop that encourages repetition of the behavior, sometimes leading to compulsive habits. Moving on to Brent.
Thank you, Joshua. Social media very much influences our dopamine levels, both coming with positive and negative effects. For mental health, likes and comments trigger dopamine for an enhanced sense of belonging. However, excessive use may lead to anxiety and depression. In cognitive attention, notifications can reduce attention spans and productivity. For addiction, there are several strategies by different platforms to maximize engagement, which encourages compulsive usage. And finally, for motivation and productivity, social media interactions can increase motivation and encourage participation. However, it can also encourage procrastination over real-life tasks due to dopamine released from online use. Moving on to Cherise.
Now, what can be done to optimize dopamine? Well, in terms of social media, here are some strategies. First is to set time limits. Limit your daily social media usage to avoid overstimulation. Second is to curate your content. Focus on uplifting and educational material instead of negative and depressing content. Third is to engage mindfully. Try to avoid just mindlessly scrolling through your social media and instead focus on having an international engagement with it. Intention. Fourth is to regularly take breaks. Doing so can restore natural dopamine balance. Fifth is to foster real-life connections to fulfill our social needs without solely relying on digital and online interactions. The sixth and last is to develop new hobbies. By engaging in fulfilling non-digital activities like sports or art, we can promote our long-term well-being to ensure that we can regulate our dopamine levels. In conclusion, dopamine plays an important role in many aspects of our lives. However, even if it does do that, excessive stimulation can have negative impacts on ourselves. As essential it is for dopamine to be a part of our life, it is as essential to implement strategies in maintaining and balancing our relationship with dopamine to ensure a healthy well-being. And that is it for our presentation. We hope you found our presentation informative and helpful. Thank you for listening.